All right, I think we are live here on Facebook. Welcome back to the Marching Health audio experience. I'm Dr. Elliott Cleveland, physical therapist and founder of Marching Health, and I have a very special guest tonight. Global fitness and health icons now, which is, that's just so much fun to say. I've been saying it all day. I'm like, this is a big deal, man. My friend, Dr. Craig Lindell from the Prehab Guys. Craig, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Elliot.
Absolutely. So you are coming to us live from Los Angeles, downtown LA. I'm out on the East Coast in South Carolina. How are things in LA? I know we're in grieving period of the loss of George Floyd. So tell us just how things are life-wise for you.
Yeah, over the past week, it's been intense. A lot of people are hurting right now, worldwide. It's not just Los Angeles, but because I live in downtown and I'm really not too far from Independence Hall or LAPD headquarters. I can look out my window right now and I see a LAPD copter just circling. And over the past weekend, it was intense. A lot of activity, just a lot of noise. And then Friday night, unfortunately, a group of individuals took advantage of a lot of good people doing the right thing, where they're peaceful protesting, they're trying to get their voice heard, they're demanding justice. And because there are so many good people, it was large crowds, and the police were focused on them versus there were other bad people with bad intentions and bad agendas that they destroyed parts of downtown. And then when I went on a run Saturday morning, it was surreal to just be running around and seeing all the damage. And it's tough. It's a shame because right now we're going through a global pandemic that has totally fallen to the back burner. And there's a lot of people that are struggling financially because of that. And to see small businesses where some of those people, they're all on the same team. Everyone's demanding justice. There's a lot of things that really need to change, and everyone's on the same team. And to see those people get hurt that also support the good message, it was tough to see. But as of lately, everything's been very peaceful down here. It's noisy, but I'd rather it be noisy and everyone getting everyone's attention because things do need to change. It's been insane. We keep beating the dead horse and nothing is changing. It's innocent people need to stop dying, and it's whatever it takes for that to change. I'm totally on board with it. I support it, and it's crazy to see. It's crazy to live through it, to see it. But I'm glad that everyone is standing up and they're making a point. So it's been good to know that it's been good peaceful protests here in LA from at least what I've seen.
Okay, good. I'm glad to be able to check in with you a little bit and spend some time with you and make sure that you personally are doing okay during all this. And for us, we obviously first and foremost, we're still mourning the loss and the action of it, and trying to use our platforms to help people understand the greater message here that Black lives do matter, and that we're trying to create change with that. And we had this podcast scheduled for a while, and I wanted to make sure that we touch on the current events and give those their due time. And
for sure. And we're doing the same with our platform because Black lives do matter. And there's, no matter what people say, no matter what people do, I don't think that you're ever going to make everyone happy. But right now, it really doesn't matter about anyone else or who else isn't happy. We truly need to bring into the spotlight that Black lives do matter and innocent people need to stop being murdered. And I think for us and for you and anyone with a platform, it's, for me, I'm never going to understand. And, I can't relate, and because of that, like I'm sincerely apologetic. I apologize. I'm sorry, and I just want to empathize with people because I don't understand, but I'm here to listen. I'm here to help people. I'm here to support people, and I'm here to spread their message and to push their agenda, which is it's a really good agenda, and that's we need justice and we need things to change, and that's the focus right now. So however we can help people, and I think if there's for any PTs that are listening, I was just thinking about it earlier. It's like this is what you I guess the easiest way to put it, for trying to put it into a PT perspective, is like this is a chronic pain. This is a chronic disease that, as of now, there still hasn't been a cure. Like centuries and centuries of racism. It's causing serious chronic pain that we can't. It's intangible, right? We see all the bad things that happen, and people are going through some like serious shit, and they have their entire lives, and it feels like there's no hope because nothing's changing. So for us in the healthcare industry, it's like we just need to empathize with people. We got to support patients. We got to support people in the community. We need to support other healthcare clinicians that are feeling this pain, and that's what the focus needs to be.
Absolutely. And you guys have been one of the best at being able to push healthcare forward. So in the past couple of years, I'm really appreciative of y'all taking a stance on it and helping the world really move the needle there. So tell us a little bit about yourself, as the Marching Health audience may not have heard of the prehab guys in general. So tell us, what are the prehab guys? You and I met a couple of years ago at a physical therapy conference while we were still students, and both of us were kind of coming up with our ideas for the people we wanted to serve. So tell us about your audience and who you guys serve.
Yeah, so like Elliot brought up earlier, my name's Craig Lindell. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm also one of the co-founders of the Prehab Guys. So the Prehab Guys is an online physical therapy education platform, and really our purpose is to educate. We want people to value the benefits and the true value of prevention. When we were in physical therapy school, and as we were in class, and then when we would go home on breaks, we sort of learned that the public perception of physical therapy was not our perception of physical therapy. And the more that we started to work with people in the clinic, and we started to learn about injuries and neuromusculoskeletal issues, we learned that, wow, this is all a reactive approach. And at that time, there was definitely a focus on prevention and preventative medicine. And it was like, why aren't we doing this with physical therapy? I think people need the right information at the right time, and we would be dealing with a lot less unhappy patients. We would be saving the healthcare industry a lot of money. We would be decreasing the burden on individuals and communities, and time lost from work, time lost from family. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can look at it. How if an injury isn't managed, or a musculoskeletal dilemma isn't addressed, it can spiral out of control. So we realized, why don't we just take everything that we know and apply it in a preventative manner? And that's where we really wanted to coin and own the term prehab. It's a proactive approach, and it's all based in prevention.
Right. And when we talked for the first time, we were at a conference together, and it was you, Arash, and Mikey, who are the other two guys in the prehab guys. So Craig by himself is not the prehab guys.
No. And we have even more people on our team. It's a really exciting time for our company as we continue to grow. And at this point, we're going to have 12 people on our team soon. We have multiple website teams. We have an app team. So it's not just me. It's not just us three. It's a growing company, and it takes a lot to do what we're doing. So I am Definitely not just me.
Yeah, and the four of us were talking. We were actually being interviewed for someone else's podcast because they were, Jared Carter. Shout out to Dr. Jared Carter if he's listening. They were excited about the future of physical therapy with us as students and our ideas. And at the time, Marching Health was actually more of a reactive approach. I don't know if I've told you this. I was more on the side of treating students that got hurt, still like leading warm ups and things like that. But until talking to you guys and really getting you seeing you guys catch steam with what prehab was and how that could impact people, that changed the game for what we do. And that really
It's
became,
awesome.
yeah, it's really, I mean, if I hadn't told you that before, I'm telling you that now because you guys were a huge influence in what we do. And that, because we have taken a proactive approach in working with marching bands and drum lines and teaching them how to prepare their bodies for the season, how to sleep right, how to eat correctly, what shoes to wear. And then finally getting to, okay, here's a workout that you need to do before the season and during the season. That's changed how young marching musicians, young marching athletes prepare for their season. So
That's amazing.
it's had, I mean, you guys aren't just impacting your, 7,500,000 followers. You're also taking this whole, I had an influence in this entire niche that we're into as well. So huge thank you to you guys for doing what you do.
That's awesome, man. I'm really glad to hear that because I've been in touch with you since then. It's probably been probably 2.5 years or so, and no, probably 3.5 years or so since the first time we met. And that's amazing to hear because again, it's everything falls back to our purpose, and our purpose is to educate. And if we can just get the word out, the value of prevention. And I want to reiterate that you and I would both agree we can't prevent everything, right? It's things happen. But I was explaining this to someone the other day that yes, I can't guarantee that something isn't going to happen to your shoulder. Like, well, we can do everything in the world. Something may happen to your shoulder. However, if we do everything that we can for your shoulder, if we do everything we can for your arms, for your neck, for your mid back, that if something does happen to your shoulder, the rest of your body is well prepared to take on that burden. Because we all see it in the clinic, we all see it with injuries. My shoulder hurts. Damn it, why is my neck killing me? Why are my traps killing me? Like why is my body falling apart? And it's because if one area gets injured, well, the show has to continue. The music has to go on. So for the music to go on, we have to compensate. And if we compensate, then there's other areas in the body that are going to have to pick up that burden. So if we can have every part of our body performing at the highest level and have the highest capacity that it can have, then we are mitigating the potential risk. There's always going to be risk. There's risk with everything. However, if we can mitigate the risk, then we're doing the right thing.
I love it. And the first part of what you said is our big mission too, and it's what our team tells each other all the time is we are here for education. We are involved in music education in some form or fashion. We're involved in investing in the lives of young people. And at the end of the day, we have to educate them on the health aspect of things too, because that's really where the power is in making sure we can transform their mindset. That will transform the outcome of what they do. And then from there, taking them from head to toe and making sure that every aspect and every major joint and every major muscle group has the tools that it needs and the attention that it needs in programming to get them ready for their season. And we tell them, just like you said, I can't promise that if you guys are on, during your marching band show, if the drum line runs up on props and runs back down off of them after they play a feature, that they're not going to roll their ankle on the way down. But I can tell you, if you do a lot of the balance training that we incorporate, they're going to be less likely to do so. And I can tell you, if they're doing all of the strengthening exercises for their core and their lower legs, the things like the shin splints and the tendonitis, those things won't be nearly as prevalent as they otherwise would be if you weren't doing these things.
And then you're going to be well equipped with knowing what to do and when to do it, if you do run into an issue. It's the fear of not knowing is such a burden for people, because now we're going into what you spoke about earlier. It's a mindset, and fear can it can really cause havoc on your mindset. So not knowing what's going on and what you should be doing can just lead down to a dark spiral of affecting sleep, affecting nutrition, affecting mindset. Ultimately, all those things lead back to the middle, which is performance. So education is the most powerful thing as healthcare providers can provide, in my opinion. And I think, if anything, this entire pandemic, and where we are limited with what we can do in person and how many people we can interact with, it should only be reassuring that, hey, we are still extremely valuable. And it's the transfer of knowledge, just like many other occupations out there in the rest of the world, that we can fall under that umbrella, and we can definitely help a lot of people.
Yeah, and tell us more about your specific interests, because I know you and I briefly talked a little while ago, a week or two ago, about soccer and the sports that you really take interest in and how you guys take your approach to that.
Yeah, so for me personally, I have a huge passion for soccer. I grew up playing soccer my entire life. I ended up in a physical therapy clinic because of playing soccer. And for me, I didn't have the best physical therapy experience that I would want other soccer players to have. I'm very grateful for that experience because it ultimately led me to physical therapy. But I love working with soccer players now, and I'm so passionate about it because lately with this pandemic, I've actually touched the soccer ball more than I have in recent years. And now I'm at the point in my career where I do get to work with mostly soccer players. Like most 80 to 90% of my clients are just soccer players. And that's amazing. I'm working with the population that I want to work with. I'm treating on my own terms, and it's so much more than just exercises and programming. It's getting to connect with these people. Now I'm getting into practicing the skills of the sport, which is amazing. So for me, working with all my soccer clients, it's what do I wish I had done when I was playing soccer competitively, and how can I educate all my clients on that? So it's amazing. It's all the small things, it's touch a soccer ball every single day, practice juggling, uh, do all of these exercises that we know can help with mitigating the risk of injuries that are going to keep you on the sidelines. We know that these joints, these muscles, these ligaments are exposed in soccer. So let's just make that super robust. And for us with our platform, all those same rules apply with every single thing. It's every single sport, every single activity. Whoever's listening, it just comes down to a needs analysis. You can Everything that I just talked about with soccer, you can apply it to anything. You can be a stay-at-home mom, and what you do on a daily basis that is challenging is picking up a kid, or having to move stuff around, or it could be you're a driver. You drive for UPS, and it's constantly loading and unloading boxes. So it just comes down to a needs analysis. What do you do on a daily basis? How does that look in a movement perspective? And how can you build capacity so that your body can handle those things? And then what else do you need to protect? If you put the work in on a daily basis from a preventive standpoint, you're going to make your job a lot easier.
I love that you said you've gotten to touch a soccer ball more. You've been able to do some of those little things with your patients of just encouraging them to go through soccer basics. Because when we go teach our programs, or when I'm coming up with something new for our audience, it's more of, okay, we do dynamic warm-ups. Yes, we go through cardio. Yes, we go through strength training. But how do we make that specific to marching band or to drumline or to the movements they have to do, and do a needs analysis on that? Because it's a very unique activity. I mean, there's a weird, amount of straightening in the leg depending on the technique they use, or bending the leg, or rolling the foot and ankle, and then a very what we call in the PT world isometric holds of your instrument for hours, like 12 hours a day during banging. So how do you train for those things? How do you touch your horn and hold your instrument or hold your drums up at home long enough to prep you for those days? It's really, really important to get people to understand and to buy into how this is going to help them perform better. And when they do, it's night and day. They realize that it's worth the grind. Um, but it's getting those little details ironed out and being able to convey that message that matters so much.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that no matter what any of those musicians are doing exercise wise, uh, they're holding their musical equipment. They're holding their instrument. Like there's no ifs or buts. It's a skill. I like Dan John, a very popular and very famous strength coach, he says that 80% of the time you should be practicing your skill. So in my mind, if you're a musician, whatever exercise you're doing, if you can be holding your instrument, you're holding your instrument.
Yes, like I have videos of just hold your horn while you do squats, or if you were, doing shoulder presses, do it with your horn in your hand. Or if you're a drummer, get the drum pad in one hand and the drum stand in the other, and use those just to get in the mindset. So when you were talking about when you got hurt as a soccer player, and now that you're treating them on the other side, you're helping them get into the mindset of that. And it's just those little things, such as if you're an athlete, you're probably the best thing we can do is give you a ball while you're exercising. If you're a musician, the best thing we can do while you're working out is get your instrument or get your flag or your weapon or your drum in your hands somehow and make it feel real to you.
And it's motivating, it's reinforcing. It's you, I mean, let's face it, there's always going to be people that are reactive. And there's always going to be people that seek out help or seek out need when they need it. Let's at least make it more enjoyable, and let's remind people why they're doing these things that they may not enjoy during the moment. It's okay. He's got me balancing on one foot, and now I got to do it on this thing that it's unstable. I don't know. What's this guy making me do?
Now I got to close my eyes. Why is he making my
Yeah.
eyes? Well, you don't get warm to the ground. So look up, get used to not having a visual field around you.
All right, well, you know what? I get to hold on to my instrument. So this is why I'm doing this.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about, obviously you're very self-motivated. Your team is very self-motivated. We do a lot of discussion with leadership teams. How do you guys find continued motivation? Because a lot of young people see social media stars and think they want to do that. And this is not necessarily about social media, but they look at us and they're like, man, they're just living on Instagram. It's not that life at all. This is a grind. We stay very motivated throughout, just like we did when Craig was a soccer player and when I was a snare drummer. So what skills have you learned, or what tactics have you guys used to continue to be on your game and always pushing the envelope for progress and staying motivated in that time?
I think for me recently, I have to credit a really good book. It's called Legacy. It's been an amazing book for me, and everything falls back to purpose. We have this finite time on this world. We never know when it's our day, but ultimately, I'm spending all my time every single day doing something. And for me, I've identified my purpose, and my personal purpose aligns with the business's purpose, and that's to educate, that's to help people. I'm helping people through education. So for me, I wake up every single morning and I do what I do because I want to help people. And it can be hard sometimes, though. It's like all this stuff is going on. It's hard to say, okay, I'm stressed out. Like I feel like I need to do some self-care. How am I going to find motivation to continue helping other people? And I think that's where if you create habits and you create rituals and healthy things to do on a daily basis that root yourself and ground yourself back to your purpose. So for me, it's reading, it's just journaling, it's as a team on a weekly basis. We we say, hey, what was a great message that you came across? What was a great comment that you came across? Or what was a really good email? Or whenever we get testimonies, we share that with an entire team because it's so easy to get hyper focused on a stressful task, a stressful activity, or a stressful event that's going on, and it's so easy to forget to just zoom out and like, hey, why are we even doing this? Or like, what is all this stress for? So it's it's just taking a moment to breathe and be present and remind yourself, you just got to have tactics to fall back on that help to root yourself, to ground yourself. And for me, like I said, it's the reading, it's the journaling, staying active, exercising, and just knowing that I've always worked hard. I'm always going to continue to work hard. When I don't want to do it, I just try to find myself to motivate myself to do it, because it's delayed gratification, which is just like exercise. Sucks in the middle of it, but you feel good after doing it. So it all comes back to purpose. You know, I tell everyone that if you're having a hard time with motivating yourself, just find whatever it is that you have a hard time with stopping yourself doing, where your wife has to tell you to stop, or your friends are like, why aren't you doing anything else? Or whoever it may be, they are confronting you and telling you to stop, or why haven't you stopped? That's when you know that you're doing something that is self fulfilling versus you're staring at the clock, you're waiting for 5 p.m. to hit, or you're not looking forward to your future schedule or the upcoming work. You know, when you find something that you have a hard time putting your hands down with, you you found your passion, you found your purpose.
Absolutely. And a guy named Andy Stanley always says, if you're when you're searching for your purpose, think of the thing that just breaks your heart to allow exist without you going in and intervening. And for me, that's being able to be there for young people and being able to be a role model for them and help them. Just health just happens to be a medium of that. Music just happens to be a medium of educating and reaching and helping young people make good decisions with their lives and be able to um, mentor them in the process. So that's kind of the mission behind what we do, and that all ties in, like you said, finding what your passion is and finding your purpose behind that. In our world, there is a very constrained amount of time due to people's schedules. So music schedules tend to be, class starts at 8 a.m. and they might rehearse until 7 or 7:30, sometimes even 9 p.m., depending on the day. And what you talked about was setting those rituals and planning for that self-care. That I really think needs to be a bigger conversation. And it has been in some of our Facebook groups. Like we have a Band Directors for Better Health Facebook group that's helping people counter that right now. It's more of the staff side of things as much as it is the members. I liken it to kind of a college athlete schedule where every single hour of your day is filled. So what have you guys done to help people through busy seasons in their life, or just engaging that time and finding ways to help themselves stay healthy?
I have to credit my last CI during PT school, Dr. Erica Sigmund, the director of the ortho residency at USC, with this. It's the your life pie, your life pizza pie, your life circle, whatever you want to call it. If you're having a hard time with managing your time and you feel like you don't have enough time, you're running out of resources, and you're just struggling to find the balance. Well, number one, understand that the balance is fluid. It's always dynamic. It's never static. Just like your posture, it's never static. It's always dynamic. It's always moving. And so is the balance of your own life. So what you do is you draw a circle, and you can just start with your traditional pizza, right? You can divide it into 8 slices. That's how even traditional pizzas are anymore. But divide it into 8 slices and make it proportional with how it looks, and start with the things that are non-negotiables, like sleep, right? The things that you really prioritize, like you have to sleep, you have to eat, uh, other things that are non-negotiables to you,
I think
like
we
you
might
have
need
to
to
work.
make first step is making these things non-negotiable.
Correct.
Those are
Yeah.
things that get skipped.
Yes. So pick the things that they're always going to be there. And then everything else, now map out all the things that you spend your time with. So it may be work, maybe working out, it may be music, school, time with significant others, friends, social life. And then once you have everything on paper in front of you, that's when you can say, okay, I need I need to give more to this slice of the pie. Where can I pull from? And that's the easiest way to go about it. Much easier said than done, but that's at least a good framework for identifying, okay, this is actually where I spend a lot of my time. And if you do that and you're still having issues, then you need to track your time. As we're on this call right now, I'm tracking my time. For the past month, I've been tracking everything that I do that is work related. As physical therapist, you can't manage what you don't measure. So to make better informed decisions, you have to measure, because without measuring, you can't manage. So for me, I'm even trying to increase my bandwidth. I'm trying to figure out, where am I spending my time the most? And is there time that I can defer from one area and give it to another? So it all just starts with identification, and you don't even have to go that far. You can just reflect on what you're doing. But it's hard. It's one week you may be more dedicated to taking care of your own health and that self time, and then the next week, work just may be crazy, or just there's protests happening globally. There's a pandemic going on globally, and it throws a curveball into what you're doing, and then the pendulum sways. But I think it's a matter of recognizing and acknowledging is going to help you with, okay, deciding what is the next action that I need to take. And it's building in flexibility. I think, don't be so hard on yourself, and don't punish yourself. It's a matter of, when you recognize something that you're not enjoying that is going on in your life, just make a game plan and then change it up, and then reward yourself for when you do make a better decision, and you act on that. Because I think lately for me, what I've added to my journal is silver lining. It's I've taken from other people like Tim Ferriss, or like Ben Greenfield, and there's plenty of people out there that have a similar model with their journal, where it's identifying things that you're grateful for. Who do you want to pray for? Um, what do you find truth in? For me, I've added a silver lining. So even when all this crazy stuff is going on, with the pandemic, for instance, I've added a silver lining of, okay, what's actually been the silver lining with me being stuck in my apartment? And just from a health fitness standpoint, I'm fortunate that I have weights here, and my overhead press has gotten extremely good, because all I have is kettlebells, and I can't bench press, but damn, my overhead press has gotten pretty darn good. So it's a solid silver lining. Instead of focusing on, I don't have access to a gym, I don't have access to all this equipment. Well, hey, the silver lining is, what I do have access to is getting pretty damn good.
At one thing, and I think, that silver lining is awesome. I think a lot of directors that are watching this need to think about, what is the silver lining of teaching my students virtually right now? Find a silver lining in that. even if there's uncertainty going forward of what your school semester will look like in the fall. And students find the silver lining in being at home, and what you're able to do from that perspective. Maybe that means you're just able to talk to a friend that you weren't able to. For me, I'm able to spend more time with my son, and I'm able to go on more walks, which walking has been very cathartic to me. I haven't been able to get into the gym as much, but I've had to say, okay, just going out and walking and thinking is a really good way for me to clear my head right now.
It's just being present, like I'm so happy that I have a dog because I have to get up and move every 4.5 hours. I leave my phone here. I just bring my keys and then I'm just present. Being present right now just means, okay, I may be listening to helicopters, but it's just a matter of being present, so just when things are feeling overwhelmed, yeah, just find your escape. And I'm so happy for you as a new parent, man. I've said it with, I have a couple of friends at home, on the same wavelength. It's amazing for new parents right now that are getting to spend so much quality time with their newborn and their children. When typically, I know you're busy. I know you're working a lot, so you're getting awesome quality time, and man, that's a really cool silver lining that you're going to look back on.
Oh, absolutely. I've been valuing every second. He's right at this 18-month time window where he's learning like 5 new words a day and
That's
learning how to
amazing.
run. He walked around our entire neighborhood for the first time this week. So by himself, he won't take my hand. He's like pushes it away. Like, I got this, man.
Yeah,
So
six
that's the
feet,
attitude
Dad.
I want you to
Six
have
feet, Dad.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much, Craig, for being on the podcast and going live with us today. We really appreciate your time and appreciate the mission that the Pre-Ab Guys has had. Marching Health people, go follow them because your health will get better by osmosis of just following their pages and picking their brains and seeing how they go and live their lives day to day.
Thanks for having me, man. And I'm super happy that I've seen the evolution of your vision when we were both students, and then you got this thing started, and to hear that it's moving from a reactive to a proactive approach is just amazing. So for everyone that's tuning in, you're in good hands. Definitely refer to Elliot, take his word, and I promise you, he's only pointing you in the right direction. So
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a great night.
see ya.